Everyone calling this a dead rubber is wrong. South Korea versus South Africa is not a formality, it is a trap. A trap that will swallow the wrong team whole. Stay with me. By the end of this, you will see exactly why everyone else has this completely wrong. Here is what nobody is telling you. Teboho Mokoena created 5 chances against Czechia in matchday 1. 5. He is the engine of everything South Africa does going forward. He is suspended tonight. And Themba Zwane, the man who makes South Africa dangerous in transition, is also gone, banned for violent conduct. South Africa are not just a wounded team walking into this match. They are walking in missing the 2 players who make them function. That changes everything about how this game will be played. If you are new here, subscribe right now. We post before and after every World Cup match. Now let's get into it. This is a must-win situation, and not just on paper. South Africa sit on 1 point. 1 point that came from a draw they did not deserve to lose. A draw or a loss tonight, and their World Cup is finished. Not complicated, not qualified, finished. Hugo Broos knows this is his last meaningful decision of this tournament, and Son Heung-min, playing in what could be his final World Cup match on this stage, is standing directly in his way. These are not abstract stakes. These are careers, legacies, and national histories compressed into 90 minutes. Son Heung-min, captain, all-time record World Cup appearance holder for South Korea. The narrative being pushed right now, by ESPN, by beIN Sports, by the entire mainstream sports media complex, is that Son is fading. That he is 32 years old, and the younger generation has passed him. Lee Kang-in at PSG, they say. That is the future. Son is the past. That is the story they are selling you, and it is completely wrong. Son Heung-min has scored in South Korea's last 2 decisive World Cup group stage matches, Germany 2018, Portugal 2022. When the pressure is at its highest, when elimination is in the room, Son Heung-min does not fade. He locks in. That is not nostalgia. That is data. And tonight, with South Africa exposed and desperate, he is the most dangerous player on this pitch. Coach Hung Myung-bo is in his 2nd stint with this team. He took over in July 2024 after the previous managerial disaster. And he has built something methodical and threatening through a 3-4-3 structure that gives Son freedom on the left and gives Lee Kang-in the creative space that PSG spent €50 million to develop. Kim Min-jae anchors the defensive line from Bayern Munich, composed, physical, and playing the best football of his career. South Korea are ranked 24th in the world. They have won 4 of their last 5. They are not a team to manage tonight. They are a team to fear. Here is the stat ESPN will not show you tonight. South Korea have won their last 2 matchday 3 World Cup fixtures, not drawn. 1. Germany in 2018, Portugal in 2022. Both times the opposition were favored. Both times South Korea found a way. There is a pattern here that the Opta supercomputer's 56% win probability completely ignores. This specific team, in this specific moment of a tournament, performs above expectation. The mainstream prediction of a 2-0 South Korea win is not wrong because it overestimates South Korea. It is wrong because it misunderstands how South Africa will approach this match. And that misunderstanding is where the real story lives. Oswin Apollos. That is the name you need to know. The Bafana Bafana forward was the one genuine bright spot against Czechia, direct, explosive, and completely unpredictable in the half space. He is the player Hugo Broos will ask to carry South Africa's attacking ambition tonight, entirely on his own shoulders. Ronwen Williams in goal, the captain, South Africa's most consistent performer, will need to be extraordinary. And here is the brutal truth. With Mokoena suspended and Zwane banned, Williams may be asked to make more saves tonight than he has in any match this tournament. South Africa's defensive shape has shifted from the 5-3-2 disaster of matchday 1 back to a 4-3-3, a change that shows Broos admitted his original plan failed completely. But changing formation does not replace 2 irreplaceable players. It just rearranges the problem. This coach has made the exact same mistake in his last 3 big matches. He is about to make it again tonight. Hugo Broos consistently sets up to absorb pressure and hit on the counter, which works when Mokoena is threading passes and Zwane is releasing the trigger. Tonight, without both of them, Bros has no counter-attacking mechanism. None. He is about to ask a team with no genuine creative outlet to sit deep against a South Korean press that dismantled Czechia, ranked 17th in the world, with surgical efficiency. That is not a tactical plan. That is hope dressed up as a formation. Now, the psychological dimension of this match is something the mainstream coverage is getting completely backwards. Every analyst is pointing to the history books and saying this is the first ever senior meeting between these two nations. So there is no psychological edge, no baggage, clean slate. That argument sounds intelligent. It is not. Because psychological edge in football is not only about head-to-head history, it is about what each team is carrying into this stadium tonight. South Korea's players know exactly what this moment means. They have been here before, not against South Africa, but against this precise situation. They know what it feels like to walk out for a Matchday 3 group stage fixture with everything decided around them. Son Heung-min has lived this twice. Kim Min-jae has studied it. Hong Myung-bo has coached this exact scenario. These players are not nervous tonight. They are calibrated. South Africa's players are carrying something heavier. They are carrying the knowledge that this is their first World Cup in 16 years, and that it could end tonight on a result they cannot control if they do not win. Bafana Bafana's history on this stage is not pressure, it is silence. A long 16-year silence that ends either in redemption or in another generation of waiting. That wait does not disappear because there is no head-to-head record. It sits in every player's chest from the first whistle. Remember what I said at the very start about the trap? The trap that will swallow the wrong team whole? Here is why that single thing changes the entire prediction. The mainstream narrative assumes South Africa will set up to win. That must-win desperation will unlock something brave and attacking in Hugo Bros. But the trap is this. South Africa without Mokoena and Zwane cannot attack with enough quality to beat this South Korean back three. So they will inevitably retreat. And the moment they retreat, they activate exactly the weapon that South Korea has spent this entire tournament sharpening. The high press, the quick transition, and Son Heung-min running at a defensive line that has no cover in midfield. South Africa's desperation does not open this game up, it closes it. And a closed game against a South Korean team that wins closed Matchday 3 fixtures is not a trap for South Korea. It is a trap for Bafana Bafana. The matchup that decides this game is Lee Kang-in against whoever Hugo Bros asks to fill Mokoena's role in central midfield. Mokoena was the screen, the player who protected the defensive line and broke up transitions before they became dangerous. His replacement will be younger, less experienced, and stepping into the highest pressure match of this tournament without preparation. Lee Kang-in, PSG's architect, technically one of the sharpest midfielders at this World Cup, will find those gaps within 20 minutes. When he does, Son moves, the channels open, and South Korea's 3-4-3 becomes a wave that South Africa simply does not have the personnel to stop. Here is the logical chain, and I want you to follow every step. Hong Myung-bo will set South Korea to press high from minute 1, not to take risks, but because pressing high against a depleted South African midfield is the lowest risk decision available to him. Hugo Bros, missing Mokoena and Zwane, has no answer for sustained pressure in the middle third. Lee Kang-in will operate in the space between South Africa's defensive and midfield lines, and he will find Son on at least 2 or 3 occasions in positions that demand a save or surrender a goal. Kim Min-jae and the back three will not be seriously tested. South Africa's attacking outlet runs through Apolli's, and Apolli's will be isolated without creative service from midfield.